Okay, so in this video, we're actually going to switch gears and actually return back to our UI. In this, we're going to talk about how do you bring in these job postings using the Search REST API using out-of-the-box SharePoint with the out-of-the-box SharePoint Search REST API. So what we want to do is take a look at our list here. So we have our job postings. We got 100,000 items. And what we need to do is now for the feature that actually searches the job postings, we want to be able to bring that back using the Search API. Now, what I've done, let's take a look at Yark. This is, again, the plugin that I use within Chrome. We have the root domain and your API URL, right? And this is pretty much the same as we've been using before. We just, use web and list and all this other good stuff. So the syntax for the search query API is that it's _API search versus web. And then you have query. That seems to be a standard guide for what we need initially. Question mark, query text, and then the keyword search term or terms that you want to search by. So you still have the accept criteria of application JSON no data equals verbose. Again, you can turn off metadata if you're using 2016 plus or even have the latest CU patch within 2013 or SharePoint Online. You can do the no metadata there, and then execute the query. Now, this is where things get very tricky. So search is extremely powerful. It's probably when you're using SharePoint Online, it's probably the go-to API to use because in O365 things are going to be a little bit more flat. So, the data that you're looking for can be all over the place. And then if you're doing Graph API, there's a different syntax there. The problem is that it's a nasty JSON result. There's a ton of data in there. And to top it all off, not only is it deep and really nested, but also the data that we need to go after is in the dictionary format, which makes things a little bit tricky in order to map that. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that easily, elegantly, and then repeatable, so that way we can actually take advantage of this. So what we're going to do, and this video is going to be just about how to get things started, and then I think this is going to be a series, probably about 2 or 3 video series, but this is going to help us get things started, and then we will circle back and how to add in like manage data properties and stuff like that. That's going to be a future video. Let's go ahead and drop into our Visual Studio project. As we've done before, everything is going to be in services, right? As far as this is where we hide most of the nastiness and put all of our business logic. So what we want to do, I copy and paste that URL. So let's just save that off here so that we kind of have a sense of what we're expecting. And I'm going to just copy this get featured service, paste this guy in because this is the last one. Let's kill that comma. And let's call this get featured or get job results, right? So we just call this get job results. And this is going to expect a keyword as well as a max count. And the URL, we want to change this a bit. So let me go ahead and grab that guy that I copied off from Yark. Let's just cut this out and let's paste this in. Let's just do it. Let's just replace everything here. Let's paste this guy in here. This is going to give me the syntax, and we already have the domain piece of the URL brought in with the _site URL. So we'll start this guy here. And I believe that starts with a slash, right? No, it doesn't start with a slash. Let's remove that. And this is, for the most part, going to be it. So let's do a double quotes there. And green squiggly is done. And then we're good to go. Now, we already have this reusable function here, right? But this is the one that gets the results if you were going against a list or library. So we need to modify this guy. So let's go to this guy. Actually, not modify. Let's replicate it, but put the modifications needed for the search results. So now we're going to call this get SP relevant results. And the reason why we're going after relevant results is because there are many different result sets within that search. It's actually really nasty. So if you're looking, if I switch back to the Yark, right? there are actually a lot of different result types within this JSON, and the one that we're going after is the relevant results. And there's and then above this is like a primary query result, and there's a secondary query result. I also believe that you get your refinement results here. So this thing is going to be loaded with a whole bunch of different type of data. But what we're going after is the relevant results. So we want to highlight that guy here. And now what we want to do, just pretty much use this as it is today. And what I want to do, I understand exactly what the notation needs to be here, but I want to walk you through that because, like I said, there's many results in that search result, JSON. And I think if we walk through this manually, or, from a process standpoint and dynamically figure these things out, we will, this will give you the tools needed to figure this out in many other different scenarios. Because when we get to SharePoint Online, there's a graph API, and this JSON format is totally different. So what we're going to do, this is not going to be true, but we're going to leave this here. It's going to throw an exception, but we're going to dynamically look at, say, how do we do the dot notation all the way down to the meat of the results that we need to bring back. So we're going to leverage we're going to log this out. Let's see, result JSON, and let's put that there. And let's see here. Let's make sure we can call this guy. So we want to call that from our job function results set. Let me collapse this and make sure the only one that's active, only one that we're working with is active. And we just replace this guy, right? And for now, let's just keep all this the same. Let's comment this out, because we don't know how we want to iterate through this yet, right? So we want to take this one step at a time. So let's go ahead and push this up. So that's my services. So now in order to push this up, we need a component to kind of drive everything. So let's go ahead and copy this existing component and create this guy here, collapse this, and let's do some renaming. So this jobs featured. So jobs results, get rid of that. And as far as the template, let's go ahead and get another template. But actually, let's do this. Instead of going out and doing all that heavy lifting to get the actual search results template and getting all that wired up, let's just copy the jobs feature template and leverage this just for the search results. So let's just call this jobs, let's just call it temp for now, okay? And this would be an indicator that, actually, let's just call it job results. And then when we're ready to wire up the real template, we can just change the guts. So jobs results, that's that. And let's go into our component, reference that template that we just created. And this needs to change to our new service function that we just created. So that's called get job results. Paste that in. Uh-oh, what did I do? What did I do? I'll bring in. Hold on. It seems like I copied too much. I just want the name of the function. There we go. And the control count, that's fine. And we want to pass in the keyword, and we'll just call this marketing. Which reminds me, I think we hard-coded the other keyword, so within the function set. And this is going to return items, and this is all wired up, so that template's just going to respond with the result set. Okay, I think we're good. Let's just double-check our services here. Yes, we're hard-coding the query text to marketing. Let's just make this the keyword parameter that's being passed in. And we're going to ignore the max count for now. Okay, and save this all. Okay, so really all we really want at this point in time is the console to log out what the JSON looks like once we make the call, right? So we're kind of loosey-goosey on everything else. Let's just go ahead and push these guys up. And that's working. All right, cool. So now let's go to our home page. And now we need a web part to bring in the search results. So let's go ahead and add that in. And again, we're just still using the script editor, the web part, and then just adding in our custom tag. So it's manual, script editor, the web part, add this guy in. Let me go into Studio. Let me copy that component name. So that way something silly as far as a typo doesn't slow us down. So we get the component name. Let's go back to the script editor. We're number 4. Let's just paste this in and then build a tag based off of that name. So JP-jobs-results and then close tag with the same name. Right. And what else? Maybe we're passing the title because the title's already wired up. So let's just do title equals job results. And then we ignore the count and all that good stuff for now. Let's erase our, make sure we didn't fat finger anything. Okay, so erase that, test text, and hit publish. And I expect not to see anything, only because we're not directly doing the dot notation for the job results. Okay, so everything else is working. Let's do an inspect and let's see what our console looks like. Okay, so let's do an F5. All right, so if we're looking at the console, it says the results JSON. Now this is pretty interesting, right? So the results JSON is this guy, right? And this, again, this is just nasty. It's just nasty. So let's look at the network. See, I've already been playing around here, but let's filter on query. Make sure you have XHR selected. That's going to be all of your AJAX calls. And let's drill down on what this guy should look like. So we're at D, query, primary query. Again, that's all the other stuff, so ignore that. And then you have relevant results, still drill. Then you have table, still drill. And then you have rows and still drill and results. And now once you get, so this is your, the results object right here. This array has all of your search results, and by default it returns the top 10, so that's why you only see those 10 items there. But then once you drill into this, each item to get which managed metadata properties are returned, you have another sub collection that has all of the properties. And this is just I can't help but keep saying that, but this is just nasty, right? So now you have all of these different properties, and if you drill into one of these properties, this is the rank property, and that's its value. This is the doc ID, and that's its value, so on and so forth. So the title is down here somewhere. So if you can look at, there we go. At least Chrome highlights the value of the key, and you can kind of scroll through here and see exactly what you're after. So title is buried in here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, title. Oh, you were the next one in line. So title was number 3. So title, and then that's the title. Now, our search result, because of our query, right? If you look at the request that we sent, because of our query, we're just doing a general SharePoint search. We're not limited to the job postings or anything like that. So, you know, we maybe create a result source or something like that to make this a little bit more smarter, or even add in the needed parameters to only target it at one list. But for right now, we just want to get this search done. And more importantly, we just want to come up with a classic, elegant way to display these results. So let's go ahead and get started. So now we have, we understand how nasty this is. This dot notation to get to the meat of the JSON that we're after is going to look a little something like this. So let's go into our data class, right? And this is the one. Let's just do it from here. So this is our business method, and not class, our data method. So this is our business method, and within here we have this pattern that we always call this data method to do all the heavy lifting and nastiness for us, and we want to make this as reusable as possible. So if I go to definition, it lands me right here where I need to be within this guy. And basically for this D dot, we need to do let's see, we want to return the results. So let's just dump this into a local collection, and then we'll return a collection once we get this notation right. So let's do, this collection should be equal to d dot, let's reference what we are, d dot, I think this should be d as well. So it might be d dot query dot primary query result, d dot query dot, come on Deshaun, let's copy and paste some stuff. Hold on. This is primary query result. Oops, I keep going to this guy. I need to go to the other Chrome. Primary query result, relevant results. And I'm purposely doing this manually because I want you to see how this is done. Again, when you're dealing with any JSON, because this pattern is reusable, and basically what we had to do is come up with a different data method to handle the search results. But you have, if you're doing a third party, you have a data method for that third party, and this is how you go through and extract their dot notation to in the JSON to get to where you need to be. All right, so dot results, and I think we probably should stop there because now this is the the result set. So I think we should be good there. That's what we want to return, and then we allow the caller to go through that result set and then start pulling off each one of the property names that are in that cell collection. So let's just see how far we get and make sure we don't get any errors. So let's just console log out the collection that we have so far. Let me just publish this up and go into my console here, hit F5, and let's see if we have success. Okay, cannot read property query of undefined, and that's right here in our guy right up front. Okay, so let's do this. Let's console the D out again, and this is the issue that we ran into before, whereas the network view of that JSON doesn't give us the complete view. So, but if we console out this object here, the D object, then we can see exactly where we need to start. So D says this, right? Let's push this up and refresh. All right, so D says data.d.query. So this is D data.d.query. Okay, so that should be our starting point. Let's try it now. So let's publish this and hit F5, and if we're good, then the error should go away, and it looks like it's gone, right? So now, okay, so now we got the nasty JSON, but we're not done yet. So, but we're getting close. We're getting close. So let's go ahead and remove this. So we have this drilled down to the meat of the JSON that we need in the results set, and that's the collection. So we don't need this headlight anymore. So let's turn it off, and then let's return the collection to the caller. Okay, so let's go back to our caller. Right. So now what we're going to have, if we have done this correctly, this is going to return the result set, but then we need to peel off all of these cells and then somehow map into an item. So the best way to do that is that let's go ahead and continue. Let's uncomment this code because there's a lot of reusability here. We don't need this guy here, so we don't need that JP image. But we are going to get the collection. We're going to iterate through that collection, and then this is going to be the item. But this is going to be a result item. So let's do an R item for that. And then once we have the result item, if we take a look at this nasty JSON again, let's click on this guy. once we have our result item, so primary, relevant, table, rows, results. So we're here. So the caller, the caller is going to get it right here. And now we're iterating through each one of these 0 through 9 items. So the first thing we start off with sales and then results, and then those are the properties. So what we need to do, so this is the item. So our item dot sales dot results, and then do another for each within this guy, and this is going to be this is going to be our sale, right? So we need to do a function sale this type of deal, right? And then bring that back. And okay, so now we have the sale. Now we want to dump all of this into a object, right? Because if you look at this JSON, this is dictionary notation, and we need this more of an object property notation, our syntax, right? So let's create so what we do, we create an item here, and that's going to be our object. And within the object, we can just do item dot. Oh, but now you need to know which sale you're dealing with. So I need the key value off of here. So you do an if statement. So sale dot key. If it equals, let's say, what's the first one in the list? If it equals rank, right? If this equals rank, then set it to the rank property. Set the value to the rank property, which is this guy here, dot value, right? And let's just do that one property now, and then let's do now we need to push this to a collection. So we need another collection. I like using collection as my main collection. So let's just set this to an array, and let's set this to results, right? And then copy this. This would be a for each, and then the main collection that we're going to return is going to be this guy. So now we just do a collection.push, and then you drop in that object. Okay, now this should get us where we need to be. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little, ugly, to be honest. And it's not reusable, right? Because now for every management of data property, we have to create a mapping and then map that to our custom property within our object. But I will show you a dynamic way of doing that. But let's just confirm this is working as we expect, right? So before we do a push, let's just string this out. So let's just console log this out and see where we land. So let's just do what is it, item? So let's do new item is in JSON stringify this guy. And item. That should do the trick. All right, so now let's go ahead and push this up. Let's take a look and see if our dynamic property guy is working. Hit F5 here. Console. Okay, so new item is rank, and that's the format that we're expecting, right? So when we go get the JSON or the REST API data from a list, it has this object, really just JSON object type notation. So this is looking great. So the problem with this is that, obviously if we want to add in a new property, let's say for example title, we will have to go in here, manually add in title and add the value for title and all this other good stuff. So it's not scalable in the sense that anytime that you change the query or you add a new managed property, you have to come in here and do a mapping exercise for each and every item that you grab from the search results, you would have to come in here and do another mapping exercise. So another way to do this, and this is a trick that I found on searching the internet, and this is just general JavaScript. I did a Google search on, once I realized what this was, like I didn't realize the notation was more of a dictionary type format. I just knew it was odd and it was different on how you, let me just drill down here, how you display the property as a value, and then you need to take that property to get the true value, right? So really, normally we're used to having rank as the property and then the value being the 12.59. So, so how do you switch this format to the object notation type format? Understand that this is dictionary format, right? This is how a dictionary lays out its data. So I did a Google search, and in the Google search I found this really cool article or code snippet that really takes, instead of doing this, right, now what we can do, take that object that we're creating, use it as a array, and take the dictionary and take the key value, and from that key value set the actual value property, the value property value. Okay, so this is the syntax notation. So you take that dictionary object, give me the key. This is the magic trick right here. I never realized this or know that you can do this in JavaScript, but basically this creates the property on that object. And then once you have that, you just say, okay, for this item, go ahead and give me the value that's related to that. So let's go ahead and console this out. Let's push this up. And that's really the magic. So once you kind of get that, let's hit F5, see what this looks like now. And did we get what we're looking for? Yep, so there's rank, there's your property, there's your value, there's your property, there's your value. The comma separated as JSON objects are meant to be. And now we're good to go. So now we're cranking this out one at a time. Well, that's nice. And this gives you a lot of flexibility. The flip side of this is that things are going to be nasty, right? So when we get to the next video and we actually start looking at, managed properties and how to best bring in managed properties and stuff like that, now whatever name that this is, that's going to be your property name, and that's what you're using in your template. And in some scenarios, it becomes so generic that you kind of have to understand what's going on behind the scenes, and it's not really developer friendly, but that's the trade-off. But the good news is now we can make this query dynamic, because there is a properties parameter to where you specify which properties you want in your results set, and once you do that per query, this becomes reusable and will dynamically load those properties in. And on the other plus side is that you don't have to create this mapping for each and every type. Right now we're just doing search results for job postings, but what if we wanted to do that for blog postings or contacts or documents or any other stuff? Anytime we brought a new entity within search, we would have to do this mapping. There would have to be a sub method that did all this mapping from us to take that dictionary object and map into an object. And the final plus, there's more pluses than cons, and that's why this makes sense to go this value, this pattern, is that the other plus is that now we can encapsulate all of this nastiness right within our function. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me just copy this guy and go to our data function. And now we can make our data function that much more robust. So this guy is already dumping the results into this local collection. Let's just call this results. And then let's just paste in what we have. So now from our results that's loaded by our restAPI, this is our JSON. We loop through the JSON, get each one of those items, dynamically create an item object, and this is going to load that item object based on the properties in that dictionary. We don't need this guy anymore unless we run into a problem. Let's just comment this out and push that into the collection. We need that collection. Let's go ahead and build that collection. So var collection equals the array, and we return this guy back, right? So I think this is right. just counting all my curly braces and semicolons. But I think this is right. So I think this is going to work. And let's kind of clear some of this noise out. Let's clear some of this noise out. And if this works, that's it. If this works, that's it. So you allow this data method to do all the heavy lifting, the mapping, and all this other good stuff. It's reusable. You let the caller, massage the search query string to do what we need it to do. It will go through all this junk to turn that garbage into something nice and return that collection back to us nice and neat. So let's go back to our caller. And now that we've cleaned this up a bit, this really becomes a collection that equals D, which is going to be a collection of nicely integrated objects. Is this right? I think this is it. Right. Again, just counting. Yeah, so this becomes very simplistic. All right, let's make sure this works. So let's save this off. Let's, before we return that collection, let's do a console log out. And let's say neat collection looks like, and JSON string out this guy. And the collection, right? All right, push this up. Again, we're just dealing with the console right now. And then once we get this right, then the everything else kind of falls into place. Let's see. Error, collection is undefined. Let's do that. That's our using strict kicking in, making sure that we do things the right way. The right way, the tidy way. All right. Okay. Looks like, and we're golden. We're real gold. Real gold. Okay. So now we have that nasty JSON that gets returned by the search results. A nice reusable data method, cleaning all that up, giving us our object property format that we're used to, and the rest is history. The rest is use the pattern as we've been using now that we're using, even though we're using search, right? So let's look at our component, and this is where we pass in marketing. That's going to pass into our collection, and if we take a look at our template, basically it takes that collection, right, iterates through it like we normally would, and we're missing a lot of stuff, right? So we're missing the image title and all this other good stuff, but I think the title, the image URL, but I think the title we do spit out, which is here, right? So this title should be plugged in. So now if we go back to our website, hit refresh, scroll down, and there you have it. These are search result titles. And as you can see, this is not, these are not, we don't hit the marketing stuff until down here. These items here seems to be like there's a blog post, list or library or something like that. So you can confirm this by going to an actual search page, right? So let's go to, let's pop this open in a new tab. And we're just searching by the term marketing. And let's just dump into our content section and then search marketing here. Right, so slider posting to blog posts. Scroll down here, slider posting to blog posts, and then you got images, marketing assistant, manager, images, marketing assistant, manager, blah 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 blah. Right, so we're wired up, and this is just the baseline. This is just the plumbing, And now in the next video, what we're going to do, we're actually going to go through and say, okay, how do we, one, scope this down to only job postings, not just a generic search, and then two, pull out the information that we want by leveraging managed properties. All right, so that's it for this video. That's again a cool way to get that search result JSON down to a nice collection, JSON object collection versus dictionary, and encapsulate all that nastiness into a nice data method and build from there. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.